Hello and welcome to the Amefuto Podcast, a podcast made for Japanese people who are interested in both American football and English. We talk about news, players, rules, and interesting English phrases. We are your hosts. My name is Omar.
My name is Andy.
Super Bowl Sunday is approaching, and we have some big news and rumors to discuss as well today. Stay tuned. The stage is set for Super Bowl 56. There are only two teams left, and they are 1 week into their preparations for the big game next week. Representing the NFC, we have the Los Angeles Rams, and from the AFC, the Cincinnati Bengals. Both teams are the fourth seed in their conference, so it's not the matchup that anyone really expected. Are you surprised, Andy?
Absolutely. Look, I think going into the season, there were no expectations for the Cincinnati Bengals to be here at all.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to win 6 games.
Do you know what the odds were? The Las Vegas odds for the Bengals to win the Super Bowl this year, or to win the AFC?
I think the odds were something like 250 to 1. I think.
What if I told you that they had the same odds as the New York Jets to get to the AFC to win the AFC?
Yeah,
as the New York Jets.
I think the Jaguars had better odds than the Bengals
with Urban Meyer.
Yeah,
and a rookie quarterback.
Yep. The team that won.
What does Vegas know?
2 games.
Vegas doesn't know. We're here.
No. It's
amazing. They beat the AFC champs the past 2 years, the Kansas City Chiefs in Arrowhead, down 21-3 at halftime.
Yeah. Look, I think they did. I'm sorry for your team, man, but I think something. I texted you, a few times, and I think at some point I think I knew.
Yeah. Like at some point. I needed space,
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
I've been there.
You have to grieve. You've been there. You were there a couple weeks ago.
I was. Yeah.
It was heartbreaking. Miki mentioned that on the Friday podcast. She was like, the Andy had a really hard week 18. I was like, yeah, deservedly so. She was a lot more sympathetic.
Yeah, I think it sucked because my team lost to a division opponent, the Las Vegas Raiders. So, but look, this Cincinnati team,
give it to them. They deserve it.
They won 4 games last year. 4 games.
4 games last year. Yeah. They were one of the worst teams in the NFL last year, and the year before that, we should talk about it. 2 years ago, 2019, that was their head coach Zach Taylor's first year.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually had the worst record in the NFL. They won 2 games 2019, then 4 games last year and 1 tie. And then they won 10 games this year. And they didn't stop there. They kept on winning. They won 3 playoff games. And now they're in LA taking on the Rams. They're underdogs, of course. But again, what does Vegas know? It really is a crazy story. Yeah, and of course, if the Bengals were to win this game, it would be their first ever Super Bowl. They've played in 2 back in the 80s. They lost both to the San Francisco 49ers. So Bengals fans have been waiting a very, very long time. And as a Chiefs fan myself, I do kind of see myself in Bengals fans because we had suffered for many, many, many years. Since we had won, it was 50 years since the Chiefs had won a Super Bowl. And so in my lifetime and my family's, lifetimes, we had pretty much never seen any kind of success. And now here we are. We obviously got it. It's their turn. I'll be cheering for them for sure. But I think they can do it. What do you think? Can they go into Los Angeles? Of course, the other storyline being the Rams are kind of hosting the Super Bowl this year, as the Buccaneers did last year. Do you think that the Bengals can win this game in LA?
I mean, they are, but the problem with the Super Bowl is that it's very expensive to buy a ticket, and B, it's a lot of people who may not be like fans of the team, and maybe people who are not, a lot of celebrities, a lot of, we call it corporate people, so people who work in businesses, like who have tickets, who have sponsors, people who get into the game. Right. And I mean, Los Angeles is not really, even though Los Angeles is a big city, it's not really a football city. Not a lot of people like football. I mean, they have two teams. They have my team, the Chargers, and they have the Rams, and they don't really support football the same way a lot of other cities do.
Yeah, and they had 0 teams for many years. They just got these 2 teams a few years ago. And that was always really strange to think that the second biggest city in the US didn't have a pro football team. But, right. I mean, there's a reason for it. The culture is a little bit different. So I think now the reason they're there is obviously for money, because like you said, it is a corporate, there's a corporate side to it, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I think for that reason, I don't think the Rams actually have a home field advantage. So, being able to have a home crowd or their own fans, I think it's going to be very mixed on Sunday.
Yeah.
So in a way, I mean, it's their stadium.
It's their stadium. They'll be sleeping at home. They have their families there. There's no travel. They can use their own practice facilities. One interesting question that I heard raised is because the designated home team of the Super Bowl changes every year, which really is usually just a formality. This year, the AFC is the home team. So the Bengals are the home team. So the question was that I saw, are the Rams going to use the home locker room or the away locker room? Because if they use the away locker room, usually it's not as nice. It's a little bit, the home locker room is going to be really, really nice. Can they use their own locker room, or do they have to move all their stuff to the away locker room and let the Bengals have the nice one?
I mean, you could argue they should have used the away locker room last weekend against the 49ers, because man, there were a lot of 49er fans at that game.
It was a red crowd. It was amazing. But again, it obviously didn't make a difference.
Yeah. So that's a weird part of this. I don't really understand. But look, the point is, you're right. I think the Cincinnati Bengals have to travel. They're not familiar. They've never played in this stadium before. So this is because this is a new stadium. This is only 2 years old. So they've never played in this stadium. The last time they came to like Southern California, maybe 4 years ago. I don't know. It's not Joe Burrow and this team has not really traveled to this part of the country. So that's kind of a big part too, is this is not familiar. The West Coast is not somewhere they go to very often. And so I think for this case, I think I don't see how the Rams don't have at least familiarity, and they know what they play in. They know the environment. They know all the parts of, the field. They're very familiar with that. So that, and that's comforting. That's nice. But the Super Bowl is so different. Like it might be your home stadium, but the environment, the atmosphere, the way, everything around you is very different. It's like bringing a circus into your house. Like, it's your house, but nothing looks the same. And there's a lot of very strange people and things going on in your house.
There's an elephant in the room.
Yeah, exactly. And there's which one? There's several. I think there's several elephants in this room. Yeah, but we'll get to that later.
We'll get to all of them. We have a lot of storylines here to talk about. But I think one thing that we can start with is kind of talking about home field advantage and how important that is. Like you said, the Super Bowl, the atmosphere is different. So oftentimes what helps is experience. And this is something that I mentioned, I think last week, when I said that the Chiefs were going to win because they're experienced. And obviously that wasn't correct. But the Rams will be coming into this with a lot of players who have been here before. They've played in the Super Bowl. Sean McVay, the head coach of the Rams, a very, very young guy. He's 36 years old, but he's already coached in the Super Bowl. He hasn't scored a touchdown yet. It was a really low scoring game when the Rams lost to the Patriots a few years ago. Aaron Donald, of course, the top player on the Rams, one of the best players in the NFL, has already been there. There are some experienced players on this team. And so I think coming into it, the Rams probably have an advantage there, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I mean, this is what they were trying to do. They traded everything.
Yeah.
All of their picks.
Yeah. Von Miller is another one who was in a Super Bowl, won a Super Bowl, and was Super Bowl MVP, was he not?
He was.
A defensive player winning the Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah, he was outstanding with Denver. And then the other big one this game, Odell Beckham Jr., who had never won a playoff game before this year. Mm-hmm. He had been to the playoffs once with the Giants. And last year with the Browns, he was injured, so he didn't play last year. So this was a really big thing for him. He played really well against San Francisco. He was a big time part of that game.
He made every catch.
So the Rams expected to be here. They were one of, I guess, I don't know if they were a dark horse. I think they were one of the favorites. I think they were expected to.
Well, if we go back to the beginning of the year, the big storyline was obviously the trade. They traded their quarterback, Jared Goff, to the Lions and got Matthew Stafford. And we should talk about him. He's been in the NFL for a very long time. He was the number 1 overall draft pick in his year. So a lot of expectations. Played very well. But played for the Lions, the Woats of the NFL, the worst organization of all time. And so the storyline was we finally got a quarterback who we can trust. And so, like you said, expectations were very high. They hit a couple road bumps during the season, and that is what made them decide that they wanted to pick up some free agents. So they went and they added Odell Beckham Jr., they added Von Miller, and they really decided to kind of build their sort of veteran roster. Yeah. So I would agree. Not a dark horse, but when the playoffs started, they were not really. They didn't have a lot of momentum. They had lost, like you said, to the Niners at home in Week 18. Lost to the Niners twice this year, and people thought that they were very beatable. But they beat the Packers. They beat the Niners again, conference championship, and they're here.
Yeah, I think with the Rams, the thing to understand for football is, look, you can have a lot of great players on your team, but here's the problem. It's a team. It's 53 guys on a team. And if you don't have at least good or decent players at every position, other teams can take advantage of your weaknesses and they can expose them and they can attack them. And I think for the Rams, there were a lot of questions as to, well, okay, sure, they have Aaron Donald and Von Miller and, these players, but what about this position? What about over here? Like, can people deal with this? And for part of the season, that was a problem. And I will say this, I like Stafford a lot. He made some really, really bad plays in the middle of the season. He made some terrible turnovers.
Oh yeah.
Really bad turnovers.
Yeah.
And I think that was part of it too. People wondered, can he do this? Can he win in the playoffs? He had never won in the playoffs, Now, of course, Detroit never got to the playoffs. They were terrible. They were a woat team, as you said. But, he also didn't perform well when it mattered most. So I think a lot of people question that. I did too. And I think this has been really big for him. This has been really, really important for him as far as proving. There are a lot of people who were fans of his for a long time and wanted to see him prove it. And I think he's finally doing it after all of these years.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, you could see it just in the celebration by his family when they won last week against the 49ers. His wife, who's been with him for a very long time, and she's had to kind of go through all those years losing with the Lions. It means a lot to them to finally be here. So I think a lot of people are cheering for Matthew Stafford. I am as well. I'm a fan of his. I'm probably not going to be cheering for the NFC West rivals for the Arizona Cardinals. So I'll probably, but again, if they win, I think everyone's going to at least be happy for him, for Matthew Stafford. Now, on the other side of the ball, we have another former first overall draft pick taken 2 years ago in the NFL draft. This is actually the first time that a Super Bowl has been played between these two guys. Joe Burrow.
And even crazier, this is the first time that a number one overall pick got to the Super Bowl in their second year.
Yeah.
This doesn't happen.
Yeah.
I think
it's
the reason
crazy.
for a team to be as bad as they were and to come this quickly to this point is insane. You don't do that in the NFL. You don't. Let's
not forget that Joe Burrow, this is his second year, but this is his first full year.
Yeah.
He wasn't healthy last year.
Yeah.
If you remember. Yeah.
Yeah. Tore his knee up, his ACL and his MCL, which are like two huge parts of your knee. He got destroyed.
Yeah. He played only 10 games last year. And of course he did have a very good season. He threw 13 touchdowns, 5 interceptions in 10 games for a rookie. It was a solid performance, and people looked at him and said, okay, this guy has a lot of potential. Then they came in, and this year people thought, okay, they could be better, but they're in a very tough division, competing against the Ravens, the Browns, and the Steelers. And the Ravens obviously weren't the team that people thought that they could be, because of course they had injury problems as well. The Browns had every kind of problem you can have, really. They returned to being the Browns of old, and the Steelers just looked a little bit aged. So they won the division, and here they are in the Super Bowl. Another interesting fact about Joe Burrow is that he could actually be the first player in history to win the Heisman Trophy, which is the trophy that goes to the best college player, and also win the national championship in college and Super Bowl. There's never been any player in history who has won the Heisman, the college national championship, and the Super Bowl. He could be the first in only 2 years.
In a 3-year span. That's insane. In between college and his first 2 years.
Yeah.
Look, this guy, and this guy after his junior year, a lot of people said he's okay. Maybe he gets drafted 3rd, 4th round. And it's true. He wasn't that great coming out of his junior year. His senior year in college, I mean, he put up some amazing numbers at LSU, and I think changed a lot of people's minds about him. But he also did it for 1 year. And the thing is, a lot of people, a good term we use for this is 1 year wonder, which means someone who plays really, really well, but just for 1 year, and then every other year they're okay or not great. So a lot of people thought, well, maybe he's just a 1 year wonder, he's not going to do much. And to see him transform as a player and also change the way this franchise was going in such a short amount of time. I mean, I don't know what the comparison is. I've tried looking through my, NFL history. I don't think that we've ever seen something like this ever. This is really, really new for something like this to happen.
Yeah.
For him to be this successful and this great so fast.
Yeah. I don't think there has been anybody who's come in and gotten to the Super Bowl this quickly, but we have seen, of course, a couple players who have had very early success. Of course, Tom Brady's one.
Marino.
He came in.
Dan Marino.
Had some success. Second year.
But he lost. That's the thing. He lost the Super Bowl and then never went back again.
Yep. Never won the Super Bowl. Yep.
No, never went. Yeah.
Tom Brady came in. I'm not sure exactly what year it was. It was his second year.
It was his second year.
It was second year. Okay, so similar, but of course he came in as a backup because Drew Bledsoe was hurt.
Right.
So he came in. It wasn't a full year of play.
Yeah, but again, it's the fact that here's the thing about Tom Brady and Dan Marino. They had good teams. They had good coaches around them.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if I can.
Great coaches around them.
Great coaches, Don Shula and Bill Belichick. Zach Taylor is not that. He's not that.
Yeah.
And I think, honestly, sometimes I think he's just there. Like he's there for the ride.
They're having fun, right?
Yeah, right. It feels like it. So I mean, that's what's so amazing about Burrow. It's like it's like pulling this whole team into the Super Bowl, and it's so hard to do that in sport, in team sports, but especially in football, because there's 22 guys on the field.
Yeah,
and he seems to have just changed everything for them. It's really incredible.
Well, team culture is something that a lot of people talk about as something that is important for success. You can have a lot of great players. Like you said, it has to be a team, right? You can have a lot of great players, but if those players don't work well on a team, you're not going to win. And so even though Zach Taylor, you said, is maybe just kind of there, I think it's really tough to be a coach of that many men who have all these different, opinions and egos and personalities, and make it work, and to kind of create a team culture where everyone is happy playing for this team and everyone loves this team, especially when you're playing for the Bengals, a team that hasn't been very successful. The ownership has been described as stingy at times. It's very, very difficult for a coach to come in and make this work. But talking about that team culture, Joe Burrow is not alone here. He's only been here for 2 years, but he has guys around him who make him feel really comfortable. Of course, his number one target, Jamar Chase, was his wide receiver at LSU. So they have known each other for some time. I think that is something that really should be stressed, because that's a really big thing. To have your target from college with you in the NFL can make a quarterback feel very comfortable. Another one is a guy named Tyler Shelvin. Have you seen the photos on social media?
I haven't actually.
So there's a player named Tyler Shelvin. He plays for the Bengals, and he also played at LSU with Joe Burrow.
Oh, wait,
there's
Shelvin.
A photo going around. Yes. There's a photo going around on social media. Two photos where when the LSU Tigers won the championship a couple of years ago, Tyler Shelvin was the guy who was carrying Joe Burrow on his shoulders, and they were celebrating. And then when they won the championship last week, they did the same thing. So it was these two guys, celebrating a really, really big win. Will they do it again next Sunday? Only time will tell. But I think there is something to be said about having, a culture where all the guys feel really comfortable, and they're all really young too, And I think there is sort of like this concept of ignorance is bliss. This is a phrase that we use often in English. Ignorance means like not knowing something, right? Bliss means happiness. So ignorance is bliss means if you don't know something, you're often happy because you don't know the reality. You don't know the dark truth. And these guys don't know about losing. They don't know about, heartbreak in the NFL. They don't know any of that, right? They're all just a bunch of young kids who are just winning.
That's a great point you make. Yeah. I mean, they have no idea what losing is like. I mean,
the fans do.
I mean, and that's the thing. Like, he's taking all the fans, like, oh my God, we're going to lose. This is not going to go well. Our quarterback got hurt. Our offensive line's terrible. Our coach doesn't know anything, and all of this, and it doesn't matter. And by the way, speaking of LSU, the funny thing about it too is that Joe Burrow at LSU was coached by Ed Orgeron, and after he left, 2 years later, Ed Orgeron got fired. Like, he's not at LSU anymore. I mean, was he a good coach? Sure, maybe he brought a lot of talent in there, but after Burrow, he had no answers. And I'm kind of seeing the same thing with Zach Taylor. Like, Zach Taylor wasn't really doing much before Burrow, and when Burrow was hurt, he wasn't doing much. But when he's there, I mean, he just makes the coach look good, and some players are like that. But yeah, it's absolutely crazy to think that Tyler Shelvin, Jamar Chase, these guys from the same team have just this winning culture in them, and they know what to expect. They know what to do. and they're not afraid. They're the youngest team in the playoffs, and they don't care.
And they're here.
They do not care. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Who you got? Do you think they're going to pull it off? What's your prediction?
My brain tells me to go with the Rams because they have prepared for this. They have McVay. He wants to win this, very badly, obviously, because he's got it. He wants it. He needs it. This team wants to win for, to be more relevant in LA. They have all these players. Aaron Donald really wants to win this game. Like, Aaron Donald is dead serious. But look, man, I can't believe it. But I'm picking these Bengals. I believe in Burrow, man. I believe it doesn't like it was like against your Chiefs. We're down 21-3 in Arrowhead. The game was over. The
Chiefs
game
lost it.
Was over. The Chiefs did lose
Chiefs gave it away.
They gave it away, but the Bengals made some very important changes during that game defensively, and Burrow just didn't give up. Like I think this team just believes it. Again, my brain tells me no. I don't think that's right. This is why the Rams should win, but I'm picking these Bengals, man. Like I think they're gonna win. I think the Bengals win. If I want to give a score,
let's do a score line. I'll do one too.
I'm gonna say. You know what? I'm going to say the same one that your Chiefs lost by 27-24 Bengals.
Okay. That's pretty close to me. For some reason, there's just these two numbers that are floating in my head. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I'm seeing the future or if this is a vision from a divine, source, but I'm going to take Cincinnati 34-31. I think it's going to be a close game, a little bit higher score. Than you.
That'd be great.
But
that'd be a great game.
Yeah. I think Cincy's going to do it. I think they're going to pull it off. I think the Rams are going to be they're going to have lost again the Super Bowl at home. Sean McVay. It would raise a lot of questions about this team. What else do we have to do because we thought this is the year. But again, I mean any team can win this game. I think the Rams still have a great chance. Where are you watching?
I think.
Bar or something?
I can't watch the Super Bowl at a bar. I've watched it.
Yeah, right.
It's weird. I don't
Super Bowl, like
the Super Bowl is like feels like it's either like a friend or a family event. And 100%. Honestly, I like watching it. I've watched it at home almost every year. I really like watching it at home. I've had people over at my house. I've been at other people's houses. I really, really like having people over and watching the game together. Because the thing about the Super Bowl too, for our audience too, what's so special about it is everything around it. The halftime show, the commercials, the celebrities, like it's a giant media event.
There's a lot of fanfare.
It's a lot of fanfare, which it's a lot of things for casual people who are just watching. I mean, there are people who are watching who never watch football ever.
Yeah,
people who don't care about football are watching this game. Like it's such an event, and for me, it's just kind of watching that together with everyone is really important. So I think I'm gonna watch it at home.
Nice.
Yeah, how about you?
I'll do the same. It's actually in Japan. It's going to be Monday, February 14th at 8:30. That's kind of a tough thing. The games are always on Monday. So what I do is I take a day off every year, and I watch the game. So I've got a day off. Miki's got a day off as well. So we'll be here watching 8:30. Make some food, put it on TV, and should be fun.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a really good game, and I can't wait.
Yeah. Another guy who's going to be watching from home, which has not happened too often these days, because in the past 22 years, he has been playing in the game 10 times, won it 7 times, but will never be playing in it again. The greatest of all time, the GOAT, Tom Brady. We talked about him a little bit last week, but officially he has not retired. He released a statement on his social media platforms, thanking the Tampa Bay Buccaneers organization, his friends, family, coaches, etc., players, and that's it. Didn't thank another certain organization, and it's over. I can't believe it. It's crazy. I'm 32 now, which means that I've been watching Tom Brady since I was 10 years old. So he was there during a really important time for me watching football. And somehow he's still playing. He was playing just last week. It's really crazy to think. And I think losing him in the NFL of course, a lot of people, he's kind of a love him or hate him type guy. So not everyone is a big fan, but I think losing him is not good for the NFL. We're going to miss him, even if it's just a cheer against him.
I mean, I think that's the fun of it, right? Like, I mean, we hate seeing him win, but we also love seeing him lose. And I'll tell you what, like, I remember, I know this sounds mean because it's who I am, but I remember his losses so much because it was so unbelievable when he lost, right?
Yeah,
like
it really was.
I mean, I remember back in the Super Bowl against the Eagles, I think it was 52. So is Super Bowl 52, and that was 2018. And the Eagles scored a touchdown, but they didn't get the 2-point conversion. So they were up by 5 points with 2 minutes left. And my brain is just going, oh my God.
Yeah.
This is it. He's gonna go down the field. He's gonna score. He's gonna win. Like like my brain decided this is going to happen. And then the Eagles, Brandon Graham, their defensive end, knocks the ball out of his hands and he fumbles it. And I lost my mind. And I was with I think you might have known my coworker at the time. Her name's Ainsley. She was with me she was with me. She's from Australia, so she's never really watched the Super Bowl. She doesn't really watch football. And
right.
she's looking at me and she's like, I don't understand. What's the problem? Why is this such a big deal? I'm like, and I turned to her and I said, I turned to her, I said, you don't understand. This isn't supposed to happen. Mm-hmm. Like, it's supposed to be like a movie. Like, it's like, no, see, he's going to go down, he's going to win, and everyone's going to hate him. And this is what happened because he was so good.
Consistent. It was every
so
time,
consistent at winning and doing this for so long. You expected it. You expected him to do this. And that is amazing for a player to be like that. There's very, very, very few people on this planet that you feel that way about. Like, you look at and you see them do something and you just realize, you think he's going to do it. He's going to score this. He's going to score. He's going to win this game. You can't do anything about it. It's really amazing.
It really is. Yeah. And the reason is because we've been seeing it since he started playing. His first ever Super Bowl win, which was his first time starting, which came against the Rams many years ago. I was actually rewatching a little bit of it. He came in and they had, I don't know how much time they had left on the clock, but he came in. He put together a game-winning drive when they were, I think it was a tie game, and then Adam Vinatieri came in and knocked in a pretty deep field goal, and that was sort of his first game-winning drive. Tom Brady, I have a stat here, has in his career 53 game-winning drives. And a game-winning drive, just to clarify, is when a team has the ball at the end of the game and they are either losing or tied, and so they have to score. So he's had 53 successful times where he's had the ball at the end of a game and has gone down the field and scored. Now, of course, football is a team sport. We always say that. But when a team wins on a game-winning drive, we always give credit to the quarterback. By the way, he is not the number one leader in game-winning drives. This is per profootballreference.com. Andy, little trivia question. He has 53, tied with Drew Brees and Ben Roethlisberger at 53. Who has 54?
Yeah. Wow. How about that?
I would have. Who do you think it is?
Oh,
who has 54? Sorry. I'm sorry. Tom Brady, Drew Brees, and Roethlisberger are tied with 53. So who is it you think who has 54?
Do I get one guess?
I'll give you two guesses.
John Elway
is who I think everybody would guess, but John Elway had 40. He's number 9. Matthew Stafford and Matt Ryan are both ahead of John Elway. With
Peyton
42
Manning.
each. Peyton Manning, correct.
Okay.
Peyton Manning had 54 game-winning drives. Brady, Brees, Roethlisberger, 53. Marino, 47. Favre, 43. Ryan and Stafford, 42. Elway, 40. And then you go down to Johnny Unitas, Eli Manning, Warren Moon, etc. So that's crazy because most people think of Elway and they think of Tom Brady, but I don't know. Maybe it's because they do it in the big moments. Elway had the drive 1. He had the drive 2. Tom Brady's done it in the Super Bowls. Peyton Manning only won 2 Super Bowls. Of course, I guess you'd say maybe he did it. He did it a lot, but maybe it wasn't those big moments that Tom Brady seemed to really enjoy and succeed in.
It was in the regular season a lot.
It was the regular season, yeah.
And I think that's part of it too. I think for Brady, again, because Brady did it in the playoffs. He did it, I want to say 3 times. Yeah, 3 times in the Super Bowl. So he did it 3 times in the Super Bowl.
Do I count them? Rams was 1. Falcons was 1.
The Panthers.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He will be missed.
Yeah. Oh, so yeah, it's look, again, I enjoyed rooting against him for so long.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna lie, I will miss him a little bit just because he's been as you said, he's been in our football lives forever. I mean, he spent half of his life in the NFL, which is he's 44. You don't do that.
And he's been in the NFL for 22 years. He's been in the NFL for half his life. Yeah. It's insane. It's insane. Most players who are, let's say going, like if you're a college football player, you would be so happy to play 1 full season in the NFL. That would make your life. I played in the NFL. I played a season. And for many players, that's all they get. They get 1 year, maybe 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years of great career, right?
The average lifespan is 4 years.
Okay, and it will depend on the position, of course. Quarterbacks, kickers, and punters can usually have longer careers because they're not getting hit as often. Running backs typically have shorter careers because their job is just to get hit. So yeah, really, really, really special.
2 minutes to go in the ball game.
Well, Tom Brady is a guy who always excelled in the final 2 minutes of a game. There is our 2-minute warning, just like we did last week, Andy. We're going to play a little game of true or false. I'm going to throw 3 sentences at you real quick, and I just want you to tell me whether they are true or false. You ready?
Yep.
Number 1, the Minnesota Vikings will win the NFC North Division next year. A little bit of background real quick. The Vikings are probably going to be hiring a new coach, Kevin O'Connell, who is coming to them from the Los Angeles Rams. Not a very famous guy, but they have fired their previous head coach. And a lot of questions raised about the number 1 NFC North team of the past few years, the Packers. Will Aaron Rodgers be leaving? Will Devontae Adams be leaving? So, Andy, the Vikings will win the NFC North Division next year. True or false?
I'm going to say false. I was going to say true if they had hired Jim Harbaugh, but that didn't happen this week. So for me, the answer is false. Look, the NFC North is going to be very weak next year. It's going to be a very weak division, but I still think the Packers have a lot on their team that they can win with. So I think they're going to find a way to win. It won't be pretty,
even with Jordan Love.
I think their defense is very good. It's not because of Love. I think it's their defense, but
despite Love.
But despite Love, I think they're going to win it.
All right. Next one. Brian Flores will be the next coach of the New Orleans Saints. And again, a little bit of background. Brian Flores coached the Miami Dolphins. He was let go of his position this year after the season. Everyone was shocked. Why would you fire him? They've been doing so well. The players love him. Turns out he was having some issues with the owner, which we can dig into later on. He was let go and right now is suing the NFL. He has created a lawsuit against the NFL because there's 3 main allegations that he makes in it. But what do you think? The New Orleans Saints, they have an opening. Of course, Sean Payton's left after so many years. They need somebody who's going to come in and can create a culture in New Orleans. Brian Flores, is he the guy?
Yeah, culture of law. No, I'm going to say false. Look, I hate to say this. I don't think Brian Flores is ever getting an NFL job ever again because of this lawsuit.
Really?
Yeah. Now, I know that's kind of a big thing to say, but I really believe that. I think once you fight with the NFL, they don't let you back in. I think I think he's probably not going to coach again, which sucks because I think he's a great coach.
He's a fantastic coach.
Yeah, so I'm going to say
leader.
false. Yeah,
players love him. Okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty, last one I'll give you. And this one, I'm not sure how to word it. It's a bit confusing, but let me try. Our future children, one day, maybe we have some kids separately, of course. Our
you don't want to share?
Children, the next generation of children will know Tom Brady first as a media personality, and second as a football player. This means that they will first kind of come across him by seeing him on TV, in the media, a businessman, a celebrity perhaps, but they will not know he's a football player until somebody tells him. Now, this has happened in the past. I look at some people who have become quite famous in a career outside of their career. Terry Bradshaw, someone who I think a lot of younger people know. They see him on TV, and you have to explain that he was one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. What do you think? Tom Brady could be that guy one day?
I'm going to say false, and I'm going to give you two different occupations. I'm going to say two different jobs. I think they're going to know him either as a fitness trainer. Yes, I'm dead serious. As a fitness trainer, or as a owner or part owner of a team.
Okay,
yes.
That's fair, because I was just saying like not as a football player. They're gonna know him as something else.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So when you say fitness player, a fitness trainer, like a YouTube, I'm thinking like a YouTube 30-minute kettlebell workout type guy.
Yeah, exactly. Only 30.
No
That's
jumping.
No jumping. None. No, we don't do cardio. No legs either.
What's that?
Exactly. I mean, it's not going to be like The Rock or Dwayne Johnson or anything, but I think, look, I would say about Brady, he changed sports medicine. Like what he did has changed how people train and how people prepare for sports. So I think he has a lot of knowledge about that. And I think that's where people are going to know him, like books, medicine, stuff like that. But like TV personality, I don't think so.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. I think you also mentioned ownership, right? Potentially ownership. I have heard, of course, Peyton Manning is another guy who has gotten into a lot of business opportunities and things after he retired. There has been talk about him potentially owning a team. Tom Brady seems to be trying to create a lot of capital, a lot of financial power. He has a lot of different businesses. Maybe people are thinking that's because one day he wants to own a team. Only time will tell.
And the ball game is over.
Well, that's all we have for you today. If you enjoyed today's episode, please make sure to check out our Instagram page as well. Like and follow us at amefuto.pod. That is amefuto.pod. You can find notes on today's episode, useful English phrases, and more there. On Wednesday this week, on our series Amefuto Eikaiwa, we will be talking about a key English phrase related to Tom Brady. And on our series Amefuto Eikaiwa, on the Friday series Amefuto Shoshinsha, we will be talking about the Super Bowl. Amefuto Shoshinsha is a series with Miyuki and I done in Japanese to help people learn more about the sport of football. We hope you all enjoy the game on Monday here in Japan, Sunday in the States, and we'll see you next time.
Later, guys.